Hello everyone. In this video you will learn indexing. In Numpy, indexing refers to the method of accessing elements of an array, and you can index Numpy arrays using basic indexing, integer indexing, and Boolean indexing. So what is basic indexing? Basic indexing is very similar to how you index elements in a list. It involves accessing individual elements in arrays using integer indices, where it starts from 0 and ends in n-1 if you have n elements. Next we have integer indexing. This integer indexing is a special feature of Numpy. Integer indexing is basically accessing a list of items by providing a list of indices. So if for example, if you have an array and you want to select the items at index 1, at index 3, and at index 5, then you can do so by providing all these indices as a list for selection. The last indexing technique in Numpy we have is Boolean indexing. So the Boolean indexing is basically using Boolean arrays to filter elements based on a given condition. So in selection, instead of giving these indices, we will give it the true or false values. And based on these true or false values, wherever we have true values, the corresponding items will be returned. This way we can filter items based on various conditions. Now let's see how we can use basic indexing to select items in a Numpy array. Here we have an example. We are importing Numpy as np, and then we are creating an array, and then in here we are printing the third item. And you already know that the index of the third item is 2 because we start at 0. For this item it's 0, for this item it's 1, and for this it's 2. So when we print ARR and then the square brackets 2, it will print us 3. Let's run the code and see the result. Okay, so the output is 3. Now let's see how we can access elements in a 2D array. Here we have a 2D array, and a 2D array looks like this, which is a matrix. And in a matrix you have rows and columns. Let's say we want to select this item from this two-dimensional array. So in order to select this item, we have to provide the row and the column. So this item is in the second row and in the third column. Okay, so for the second row the index is 1, and for the third column the index is 2. So if you run this code, you will see the output is 15. Now let's see how we can select items from a three-dimensional array. A three-dimensional array is like a stack of matrices. A picture of a three-dimensional array is here. You can see there are 3 matrices here, 1, 2, and 3. If you look at this picture, we have all of them here. If I want to select this item from this three-dimensional array, then first of all I have to select the matrix. Here this number 1 is basically which matrix we are selecting, because I want to select this item, so it's in the second matrix, which has index 1. And then once I select the matrix, I have to select the row and column. So the row is 1, so it's 1, and the column is also 1, so 1. if I run this code, we will see that it will print 24. Okay, now what if we want to select, let's say, 35? Okay, so for 35, this is the third matrix. For the third matrix, our index is 2, and then I have to select the row. So it's in the second row, so it's 1 here, and then the column. So, and for the column, it's the third column. For the third column, the index is 2, right? So if I do this, then you will see it will print 35. Okay, so it's printing 35. This is how you select from a three-dimensional array. Okay, now integer indexing. In integer indexing, when we select, we pass an array of indices or list of indices. Here you can see a very simple example. We are selecting items at index 0, 2, and 4. So that returns us 1, 3, 4, because at index 0 we have 1, at index 2 we have 3, and at index 4 we have 5. If I want to select, for example, just items at index 0 and 4, then you see it's 1 and 5. So this is integer indexing. It's very simple. It's very similar to basic indexing. In basic indexing, it's just one item you select. In using integer indexing, you can select multiple items. Okay, now let's learn Boolean indexing. What is Boolean indexing? Boolean indexing is basically selecting items with a Boolean array in the selection. So here you can see an example where we are selecting items with Boolean values. Let me explain how it works. First of all, if you have in your array, if you have 5 items, then in the selection, the array you pass should have the same amount of items, and all of them should be Boolean values. Now here, each Boolean value is for each item. For the first item, the Boolean value is false. For the second item, it's false. For the third and fourth, they are true, and for the fifth, it's false. Now this selection will return the items that have true values, and in this case it's 3 and 4. If I run the code, you will see the result. Okay. Okay, you can you see it's 3 and 4. What if we make it false? Then we will get only 4. What if the shape is different? So here we have 5 items, but in here we have 4 Boolean values. Is it gonna work? No, it's not working. Okay, it's not gonna work. Now the most interesting part here is that we can generate these Boolean arrays by applying conditions. How do we do that? For example, if I want to generate a Boolean array with this condition, then look at this. When I perform this check, then this is what I get. What's happening here is this condition is being checked for each items here. For the first item it's false, for the second item it's false, and for the third true, fourth and fifth they are true. Now I can save it in a variable called mask. This mask is now this array. I can use this mask for selection, and then this is what happens. I get the items that meets this condition. You can see it here. Now I can make the condition more complicated. For example, I can generate a mask as this, and you know what's gonna happen. Okay, so it will basically return me the items of items with value bigger than 2 and smaller than 5. So if I run this code, actually sorry, it should be just one mask. Okay, so these are the items that meet both of these conditions. Okay, so that's all for this lecture.